So we have an agreement between Israel and Gaza brokered by the United States, and Donald Trump, of course, very happy with himself at the moment. Still snubbed from the Nobel Peace Prize, of course. But is there real hope in this agreement? Temporarily, I would say yes, because the slaughter in Gaza has been brought to an end. However, I think it's probably only going to be a temporary pause in the fighting. And when you look at this agreement and you look at the practical, political, and military problems that have got to be overcome here, I have some very serious reservations about the extent to which this is really going to be the linchpin for incoming peace in the Middle East. I think we're still a long way away from that. I'm Stuart Hooper, an independent geopolitical analyst. Be sure to follow me on whatever platform you are watching this video. I post on YouTube, X, TikTok, Facebook, all over the place. Hit like on this video. It's totally free. Share this video everywhere you possibly can. That's free too. Leave me your comments below. Would love to hear what you all have to say about this agreement. Do you agree with me that you have some serious reservations? Or do you think this may actually be the thing that the Middle East has been waiting for all these years? Remember, if you are also a new viewer, not only should you subscribe wherever you're watching, but you should keep in mind this is a non-ideological channel. This isn't a pro-Israel, an anti-Israel channel. Not a pro-Trump or anti-Trump channel. This is a critical thinking channel where we have to deal with the practical realities of the world as we find it and try to find some solutions to them. And unfortunately, I don't think this agreement really has much of a chance of dealing with the practical realities in Gaza, which are truly devastating. And we see that right now in all of the images of the hundreds of thousands of people flooding back into where their homes once stood. But that, of course, is the central problem here. Most of their homes are no longer standing. So here we can see an image of these hundreds of thousands of people heading north back into the major cities of Gaza. Truly apocalyptic scenes in this photograph and others like it. And I truly believe these type of images are at least as damaging to Israel and Israel's public opinion, the public opinion of Israel, as all of the images of the devastation in Gaza, because this really hits home on the true extent of the human devastation that has taken place here over the last 2 years. But that is not all. Where are these people going back to? Well, of course, this is what they are going back to. Here is an image of, I believe, Gaza City. And as you can see, there isn't really much left at all. I mean, and in fact, you can see the buildings that are still standing are basically unusable. They've been completely destroyed. They've been completely eviscerated. There is going to be no infrastructure left here under all of these piles of rubble. So broadly, that is a problem that this agreement does not really deal with in concrete terms. Who is going to be responsible for solving that problem, for clearing all of that out, and then, yeah, you guessed it, rebuilding it? Because one good part of this agreement, at least, is that it is not going to force the Palestinians out of Gaza, but are they almost going to do that by default? Well, you know, sorry, no one wanted to clear it up. Nobody wanted to pay to rebuild it, so you're going to have to leave anyway. I think that is a very real threat. And until that's figured out, this problem is going to persist. And when you look at the other aspects of this agreement, such as what is day-to-day life in Gaza going to be like? How is that going to be structured? How is it going to be governed? Well, again, we don't really have solid answers to that. And in fact, here's an article over from Haaretz, the Israeli news outlet, which says this pretty clearly. Pressure on Israel and Hamas has produced a workable ceasefire, positive, but the plan's details are thin when it comes to forming an effective civilian administration. Hamas could find a way to retake control of daily life. And even just removing Hamas from the equation, yeah, where are the details of how life is going to be governed? How is the strip going to be ruled? Who's going to be ruling over it? Because if you saw my last video, the current behind closed doors plan for Gaza and who's going to be running it are people like Tony Blair and private equity billionaires from the United States. Are these the kind of people that are going to bring peace and prosperity to Gaza? Absolutely not. Well, maybe they'll bring prosperity, but they'll be doing so for their own pockets. Certainly not for the Palestinian people. And there's another major political issue with this Israel Gaza ceasefire agreement. And that, of course, is Netanyahu and the Israeli side of this. Yeah, we don't want Hamas in charge. Yeah, we don't want terror attacks like what happened on October 7th to ever happen again. But do we also want Netanyahu still in charge in Israel? Is that going to be useful? Is that going to be able to bring peace to the Middle East? Peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians? I would say no. And we have some significant evidence of that right now. You have Steve Witkoff, Trump's envoy, who's been trying to solve these problems, Ukraine, Israel, you name it. He's over there giving a speech and he tries to commend Prime Minister Netanyahu for working with the United States on getting this done. And what happens? Well, he draws prolonged boos. Yes, prolonged booing for Netanyahu. He has sunk not only international public opinion of Israel, but domestic Israeli public opinion of him and his government. Primarily because everyone with a brain could tell that he was not trying to get the hostages back. He was trying to drag this thing out for as long as possible to keep kicking the can down the road of his corruption trial, where he's facing quite significant charges for corruption while in public office. But every time he was, or for many times that he was due to go to court, what happened? Oh, well, the war's still going on. I can't show up today. Oh, no, we've had another attack. I can't come to court today. Kept kicking the can down the road over and over and over again. Well, as long as that is still looming over his head, politically speaking, I don't think he can be trusted to hold up his side of this bargain. And again, if you watch my last video, I went through some specific points in this deal where there are clear ways for the Israelis to wriggle out of their side of the bargain. Like it says that the Palestinians have to faithfully conduct the agreement. So in other words, whenever the Israelis want to say, well, you didn't do it faithfully, they don't have to live up to their end of the bargain. And I guarantee you they're going to do that. It's a matter of if, not a matter of if, but when they do it. Now, also on the military side of all of this, the Israel-Gaza ceasefire plan has not really adequately solved this problem in terms of within Gaza right now, as the IDF is withdrawing, guess who's trying to take back control? Hamas. And guess how they're doing it? At the barrel of a gun. So this is a group that is not going to be useful to the Palestinians. And many Palestinians know that. There were protests throughout the strip against them over the course of this whole disaster. And here you see Hamas mobilizes fighters in Gaza as fears of internal violence mount, which they're going to. There are Palestinians that are very angry with Hamas. And they're going to want to get rid of these people themselves now that the IDF is gone. And you can see these people here, right, standing with weapons, trying to enforce order. And as you read into the article here, it says Hamas has recalled about 7,000 members of its security forces to reassert control over the areas of Gaza vacated by Israeli troops. And the Palestinian group has appointed 5 new governors, all with military backgrounds, some of whom have previously commanded brigades in its armed wing. And the mobilization order was issued via phone calls and text messages, which said the aim was to, quote, cleanse Gaza of outlaws and collaborators with Israel. And they told fighters to report within 24 hours. there is not a better illustration of how both sides in this equation are really just not helpful at all. They're not useful in any conceivable way to the sides that they supposedly represent. You've got the Israeli side with Netanyahu and dragging this thing on and causing this 2 years of an attempted ethnic cleansing operation, which resulted in a genocide. Then on the Hamas side, they know that they are now hated too within Gaza. Um, because what did they do? They caused the attack, which brought on this massive onslaught. Gaza's destroyed. They did nothing to really help out the Palestinian people all of the years that they've been in charge. I think that's very fair to say. And here you are. Now there's a power vacuum, and now everyone is going to be shooting at everyone and trying to retake control and spin things in a direction that is beneficial to them. So this is the current state of this situation. It's a mess. I don't really see the end goal here, and I think tensions are going to be on a knife's edge. And if one little thing happens here from either side, Hamas launches some rockets into Israel, Israel launches an airstrike, whatever, it's going to spiral out of control again. So we need a permanent solution to this sooner rather than later. We need Trump to actually come out and understand what the two-state solution is and what it should be, and what most political leaders with any sense of reality were aiming towards as the permanent solution for decades. That's what needs to happen. But like I said, don't think we're going to get there under this. Leave me your comments though. What do you think? Do you see it similar to me? Do you think it's going to spiral out of control once again? Do you think the Israelis can be trusted to uphold their end of the bargain? I certainly don't. Can Hamas be trusted to uphold their end of the bargain? Also, highly doubtful that they're going to do that either. So let me know, and I'll be back with more videos on all of this and a lot more real soon.